Man, it feels good to be back in the office, ladies and gentlemen. I've been gone for about 2 weeks on a little family vacation. I feel rejuvenated, renewed, and recharged, and ready to kick some ass and bring you guys some content once again. So with that said, welcome to Setup Wars episode 296, laptop edition. It's been a while since I've done one of those, so kick back, relax. I've already forgot the intro. Let the show begin. Before we continue, I want to give a huge thanks to Vultr for sponsoring today's video. Vultr offers high-performance cloud compute, bare metal, storage, and managed Kubernetes. They offer 12 pre-selected operating systems, including Windows, as well as the ability to bring your own ISO. Spend more time coding and less time managing your infrastructure with their powerful control panel and APIs. Their advanced networking features are built to support even the most advanced deployments thanks to features like VPC peering and Direct Connect. Instances start as low as $2.50 a month, and they offer more locations than DigitalOcean and Linode combined. Vultr's marketplace also offers one-click installation of more than 50 applications and operating systems, including instant Minecraft, VPN platforms, and more. Right now, they're offering an exclusive 30-day $150 discount for signups using my link below. So check them out at getvultr.com/TechSource or just click my link below. Kicking off the episode, we have a very clean laptop setup by Carlos. He's a real estate agent from Portugal who recently moved into his new apartment, so he had to rebuild his setup. That way he can use it for video editing, browsing the web, and those occasional game nights. He took the minimalistic approach with a single monitor that he hooked up to his IKEA mom desk. However, he does have the laptop open on a stand, which means he probably uses it as a secondary monitor from time to time. It's nice to see that he's using a dedicated mouse and keyboard with the setup, as you can do so much more with external peripherals. Despite being powered by a laptop, Carlos did not settle for audio gear. Picked up some nice studio speakers for the primary source and a pair of JBL Tune headphones for gaming. He does use a light bar on top of the monitor, which explains why the webcam is on the desk. But personally, I would just pick up a cheap webcam arm and clamp it behind your monitor to get that desired angle. Carlos did a phenomenal job with the cable management. You can tell he put in a lot of work into it. Now, when Carlos gets tired of working or gaming on the desktop, he swaps over to his racing sim setup on the other side for a little bit of Dirt Rally and F1. Honestly, I'm very impressed with the overall aesthetics of this laptop setup. I love the minimalistic approach, the matte black color scheme, and the genius computer fan that he added underneath the laptop for additional cooling. It might not have any personality, but it's a very nice setup nonetheless. Thank you, Carlos, for starting out the show. Here's another very clean setup by Florian from Austria. We got the same minimalistic approach with a single monitor. However, he mounted his against the wall to achieve a cleaner look. One downside to doing this instead of using a monitor mount is that you can't hide the cables behind the monitor arm. So you'll have to either run them through the wall or use a channel raceway to cover them up. But personally, I think this looks the cleanest, and I'm sure a lot of you guys can agree. The desk itself is also very minimal. We got wireless peripherals to avoid cable clutter, and then we got his laptop on a stand that's packing the Ryzen 5 5600H and an RTX 3060. I would say there's a good amount of effort that was put into decorating the setup with a few wall shelves and plants to add some life. I personally love those rectangular shelves that he added on the wall as well. Not only does it look cool, but it helps keep the desk clean by keeping the stuff off of it. We can see the same shelf on the right side holding up his PS4 Slim, which is connected to a TV, which he uses to watch YouTube or play GTA 5 from his bed. Very nice. Thank you, Florian, for sharing this awesome laptop setup with us. Coming in number 3 is Jacob, who's a student from Germany, and his budget laptop setup. Now, similar to the previous setups, this one also uses a single monitor. However, he has both the laptop and the monitor hooked up to a mount, which adds more functionality. This is great in situations where you need to get closer to the laptop for certain tasks or reading smaller text that is often difficult from a distance. We got dedicated peripherals with a Razer Huntsman Mini and a Rocat Cane mouse with clean cable routing, using a few cable clips to keep a straight path across the desk. I love to see it. The setup doesn't use any speakers, but he does own a pair of SteelSeries Arctis 3s with a built-in mic. Now, the laptop powering the setup is equipped with a GTX 1650 Ti, which might not be powerful enough to take advantage of the 144Hz monitor, but it's still nice to have one in case you do end up upgrading later down the line. Thank you for sharing this with us. Finally, we get to see a setup filled with some personality. This is Jimmy's setup. He's a wedding filmmaker and part-time YouTuber from India who wanted to build an all-white gaming setup but couldn't because of the pandemic, as most of the items he wanted to buy were out of stock, hence why he has an empty PC case on the desk. So he decided to buy a laptop instead so that he can at least get some work done and game in the meantime until stock arrives. Even though he lives in India, I can't help but get Japan vibes from the setup. From the cherry blossoms surrounding the katana on the wall to the anime wallpaper and the desk lamp. I love it. I think Jimmy did a fantastic job on personalizing the setup. This goes to show that there are endless possibilities in making your setup stand out. You can create a portal to another world or another country if you like. It all comes down to your imagination, and that's what I find so beautiful in setups. Hang in there, Jimmy. You will get the chance to build your dream PC and upgrade your setup, and when you do, feel free to come back on the show. Speaking of personalizing, here's a well-executed laptop setup by Neil, who's an accountant from London. It took him about 6 months to get the setup to this point by slowly adding to it every month. So Neil has no use for the laptop other than to power the setup. So he has it tucked away to the side and relies on the single 32-inch curved 144Hz monitor for all the tasks and gaming. You really only have two choices using a laptop. You either use it as a secondary monitor or you tuck it away so it doesn't ruin the aesthetic or design of the setup that you're going for, which is what Neil did here. Looks like he kept a clean surface with a Logitech G915 Lightspeed keyboard and a Razer Basilisk to avoid cable clutter, and for audio he's rocking dedicated Razer Namo speakers and a G533 headset with a dedicated mic that he swaps to for gaming. Really great work personalizing the setup with those 3D art panels and Gobi glide bars. Even though I've seen them a million times, they still look really good in a setup, especially when executed the right way. He covered the entire space between the wall shelf up top and the bottom, which is how you're supposed to do it. I mean, some of the panels are loose on the ground and the cables could use a little work, but overall, a very nice setup with really good lighting. Now here's a very clean floating laptop setup by Raoul from New Jersey. He took the minimalistic approach but decided to mount his ultrawide and desk against the wall, which came out looking awesome. The table is actually the countertop from a used IKEA Mickey desk, and he mounted that against the wall using a few brackets. And underneath the desk is actually where he keeps the laptop that is powering the setup. But he does keep a few extra ones on a stand where he can easily swap between if he ever needs an extra display. He just has to move his custom keyboard and mouse for that. Other than that, the setup uses a single soundbar for all of his audio needs and a little bit of lighting from some RGB strips and the Nanoleaf panels up top. Since there isn't any storage cabinets or drawers in the setup, he decided to add a pegboard and a corner shelf to hold up some of his gear. And notice how everything is floating. There's consistency with the theme of the setup and it carries over to the rest of the room. I mean, mostly everything is literally attached to the wall, which is cool. I think Raoul did a fantastic job decorating his entire room. Cable management is also on point. I love that he drilled a hole in the wall to pass through the cables, but the smartest thing he did was installing a drawer with a vent to prevent the laptop from overheating. On the surface, it might look like a simple and minimalistic setup, but I can promise you guys a lot of planning went into this. Sometimes the simplest setups take the longest to successfully execute. A complete transformation from your previous setup, no doubt. Thank you, Raoul, for sharing this with us. Coming in at number 7 is Treyash. And yes, if you haven't noticed already, we are going overtime with today's episode, so I hope you guys are okay with that. Treyash is a business owner who's also a part-time student and a full-time data analyst from Arkansas who built this setup in the span of 3 months for productivity and light gaming. We have a single monitor hooked up to a sit and stand desk with wireless peripherals and a bit of decoration to add some personality to the setup. Nothing over the top or crazy with flashy RGB lights, he kept it very tame with neutral colors. The laptop is tucked away in the corner, which means that it's only used to power the setup, so he does everything on the single 24-inch Dell monitor. Cables could use a little more attention, but nothing that can really break the setup aesthetically. I think it's put together very nicely. Thank you, Treyash, for entering, and I'm sorry if I butchered your name. Wrapping up the video is a very unique laptop setup that I don't see that often. In this case, the laptop is on a stand which lifts up the monitor at a more comfortable height, and it frees up space on the desk for a dedicated keyboard and mouse. It's a very uncommon layout, but I personally think it's underrated and really maximizes your desk space while offering a better user experience. There's really not much else to the setup other than a few plants and a desk lamp, but I thought I'd share this setup in case some of you guys really like the layout and could use it for inspiration. Thank you, Steven, for sharing this with us. As a reminder, you guys can always pick up a cheap Windows CD key for less than $15. Just click on my link below and use the code TS20 for an extra 20% off. Once you get your CD key, just visit the activation settings in Windows and change your product key. It's that simple. And that will do it for today's video. As always, make sure you guys comment below. Let me know which of these laptop setups was your absolute favorite. If you guys are enjoying the show so far, do let me know, toss a like before you head out, and make sure to subscribe if you're new here, because I do host Setup Wars every single Monday. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you very soon in the next one.